Bon, petit rituel habituel, je vais voir si ça fonctionne. Avant de vraiment commencer le live. Oh là, il y a Twitch qui a totalement... Il y a Twitch qui a totalement changé de mise en page. Ouais. Alors, channel. Ok. Vous avez désormais accès aux dernières mises à jour de navigation sur Twitch pour savoir plus. Ouais, bah, je verrai ça après. Attends. Bon, test du micro. Apparemment sur YouTube ça marche. Test du micro. Ça marche aussi. Le micro est bon. Bonjour Docker. Ok. Donc je suis encore en live sur les deux. Sur YouTube. Sur YouTube et sur Twitch. Voilà. Hop. On va pouvoir commencer. Ok. Alors. Continuer. Machin. Bidule, bazar. C'est quoi cette musique de vieux? Bah c'était, je sais pas, c'était la publicité. C'est pas du tout... Votre rang SMP a progressé. Ouais, super, je m'en fous en fait. Voilà. Super, voilà, parfait. Donc, alors, liste des missions. Donc on a une nouvelle mission, la numéro 41. Éliminer la colonne de blindés qui s'assemble au nord de l'aérodrome de Nova Briga. La colonne contient de nombreux véhicules de combat à grande échelle. Ok. Donc c'est une mission peut-être un peu plus action. Ouais, c'est possible. C'est possible, on va bien voir. Donc du coup, je vais peut-être pas prendre mon sniper. On va plutôt prendre du lourd. Gros calibre pour registre spécial. Ouais bah vas-y pour ça. Les coéquipiers, on va prendre Quiet. Ok, allez hop, c'est parti, dès que possible. Bon voilà, nous voilà partis pour la mission 41. J'espère en faire un maximum aujourd'hui. Et puis bah terminer le jeu, je pense vendredi. Il n'y aura pas de live demain. Donc ce sera certainement vendredi. Enfin, s'il n'y a pas 3 heures de cinématique, etc., etc. On verra bien. Épisode 41. La guerre sans fin par procuration.
The CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out. Listen to the tape for the contract details. Just be aware that the column's commander served with 5 Commando and later made a name for himself in South Africa's 32 Battalion. He's a hardened veteran, so don't take it lightly. Boss, I have a report from the intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map.
Ok, apparemment j'ai déjà 2 signes. 3 même, parce que là, il y en a 2. Et on s'éloigne de celle-là. Mais non, non. Elle descend. Voilà. Donc les deux cibles sont déjà en mouvement. Ouais, je pense. Voilà. Si je peux les extraire, je le ferai, mais ça risque d'être chaud. Hein. Ouais, d'accord. Ah, je peux pas l'extraire. Je ne peux pas l'extraire. Oh putain. Ah, je suis déjà mort, d'accord, ça commence bien. Ok, je peux pas l'extraire quoi, évidemment, quand c'est en mouvement. Bon, bah on va y aller en tirant dedans, tant pis, c'est pas grave. Hein. Il y a sûrement une technique pour les avoir autrement, mais je m'en fous. Hein. Ce sera pas la première fois que je défonce du tank. Oh putain. Ah mais non. Oh là là. Non, j'ai pas de cagoule de poulet. Bon, ça commence bien. N'hésite pas beaucoup d'attention. Putain! Il va encore me tuer. Hein. Ouais, c'est peut-être pas la bonne technique alors. Hein. On va essayer de faire autrement. C'est-à-dire, qu'est-ce que je pourrais faire? C'est une bonne question. Mais lui, il m'a déjà vu, lui. Hein. Je réapparais, je suis déjà repéré en fait. Mais je suis derrière le rocher là. Oh, il a pété tout seul. Hein. Il t'approche gentiment, un coup de feuilleton et hop c'est good. Mais non, puisque je suis déjà repéré. Je ne peux pas m'approcher. C'est la première chose que j'ai essayé. Ça ne marche pas. Je peux pas y aller en bourrin. Bah. Et là, celui-là il m'a déjà repéré en fait. Allez, recharge là. Allez, tire. Il va encore mort. Putain, mais il en faut combien celui-là? Voilà. Oh ouais, ça va, j'ai compris, allez. J'ai compris, non, redémarrer la mission, on va recommencer, faire ça autrement, parce que j'ai pas envie de courir après comme un connard non plus. Stopper toute cette phase-là.
Your job is to wipe them out. Listen to the tape for the contract details. Just be aware that the column's commander served with 5 Commando and later made a name for himself in South Africa's 32 Battalion. He's a hardened veteran, so don't take it lightly. Boss, I have a report from the intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map.
Ils vont venir, ouais, tout le monde va venir ici en fait. C'est ça. Tout le monde va venir là, donc c'est là que je vais j'aurais dû mettre un point. Voilà. Je vais aller me foutre là, je vais les attendre. Hein. Ça m'étonne qu'il n'y ait pas... Ah si, quand même. Armurier. Ouais, lui, il a l'air bien. D'accord, c'est pas grave. Croyez la liquider. Ah mais c'est qui me tire dessus là? Ah ouais d'accord. Parfait. Okay. Bon, ils ont l'air d'approcher. Il y a encore quelqu'un apparemment. Il y a encore 2 personnes. Il part par là. Oh, des plans. Enfin, des plans, des documents, des trucs. Des trucs et des machins. Il me dit qu'il y a encore quelqu'un. Ah oui. Voilà. Ah, voilà le tank.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Hop.
Boss, we have new targets. Check your iDroid for the details.
Ah, il y en a encore un par là. D'accord.
Nice work. You never cease to amaze, boss.
Allez hop. Ah, il y a des hélicos maintenant. Ok. Ça, les hélicos, je vais pas pouvoir les
Nice work,
filtonner. Hein.
boss. The targets are almost history.
Je vais pas pouvoir les filtonner.
That's an enemy gunship. Don't try to take down a gunship from the front. You won't win in a head-to-head shootout. Try to get behind it and take it down with missiles.
Ouais. Je vais quand même essayer de me faire le temps. J'espère qu'il va s'arrêter. C'est pas sûr. Ah, il s'arrête pas. Je peux pas le filtonner tant qu'il s'arrête pas. Ok. Ah, mais arrête-toi là, ne serait-ce que 2 secondes. Non. Et évidemment, il ne me repère pas, mais je vais arriver au village. Hein. Chiant. Pas au village à la base. Putain, mais arrête-toi! Pourquoi est-ce qu'il veut pas... Ah voilà. Eh ben!
Just one target left. He's coming too. Roger that.
Putain, mais je le touche pas là ou quoi? Non. Oula. Mais non, putain de merde, quel jeu de con là, franchement. Sérieux. Ah, c'est nul hein, ça. Qu'est-ce qu'il me reste? Mais il reste juste lui. Il reste juste lui. Ah, il m'a pas repéré. C'était avant qu'il me repère. Ah, ça y est, c'est bon, maintenant il m'a repéré. Putain, mais pourquoi est-ce que je le rate encore là? Voilà. Je vais toucher pourtant, hein. Ça ne m'a pas suffi. Oh Bon, allez, quand ça passe à 2 mm. Allez, tire. Voilà. Ok. Il suffit de partir par là. Hop. Et voilà. Bon, bah, mission finie, hein. Mission finie. J'ai quand même fultonné les tanks. C'est déjà pas mal. Pour l'hélicoptère, bah, il manque en fait le bazooka Fulton qu'il y avait dans Peace Walker. Mais le railgun.
Alright, mission complete, boss. Maybe you'll actually break a sweat next time, huh?
Rang 1. Ok.
Boss, as we suspected, the mastermind behind the kid's escape was Eli. It's hard to believe, but apparently he'd been plotting an armed uprising against us. He could be hiding something else too. Ocelot's gonna press him for answers. Get back here as quick as you can.
Eli, c'est le gamin, là, c'est le Mamba blanc, là, si je me souviens bien. Voilà.
Where is he?
I told you. Your father's not here.
They're back.
Yes, they're back. But don't get any bright ideas. The quarters are under full surveillance. Weapons privileges have been suspended. No more uprisings for you. Did you really think it would be that easy, Commander? You'll get your boys back. They'll even see the boss, too.
First, I need to know what you sent them to do
They wanted to leave.
to their homelands.
They wanted to go home. That's all.
So they were just homesick then.
Not quite. Military warlords, PFs, the armies that murdered their families. Cousins, brothers, parents. They all had someone to kill. I told them, last chance to face the world with no regrets.
Last chance.
You better be ready for your drag back here. Ready to face the world as enemies. No! You! Goodbye, Father. I don't need you anymore.
Was Ralph really an accident? Or did Eli just rig it to stir up the boys? Either way, he had to have been planning for this all along. bidding farewell to the world.
Et quel gamin de merde! Oh là là. Solid liquid psycho, solidus screaming, praying. Ok. Praying mantis, ouais. Putain, mais quel sale gamin, franchement. On va lui foutre de baffe et le priver de dessert, hein. Et l'envoyer dans sa chambre.
Boss, we're looking for the kids in Soholanthropus, but there's still no sign of them. We don't know if the chopper pilot is alive either. What have we gone and put in the hands of those kids? We don't know how bad this is until we find them. Also, regarding our concerns about Eli, I finished looking into whether or not he's a product of that project. I have an answer.
Ouais, moi aussi
Put
j'ai
it
une
on
réponse.
tape. Give it a listen.
Moi je pense que c'est Solidus,
Boss,
le gamin.
I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The
D'accord.
details are on your iDroid.
Tot. À mon avis, le gamin, le connard de blond, c'est Solidus. Mais je peux me tromper, hein. Vous avez reçu des poids SMP, je m'en fous, franchement. Oh là là, mais il va me le mettre à chaque fois, lui. Ça m'intéresse pas. Allez, oui, tant mieux, d'accord. Super. C'est bon? Qu'est-ce qu'il veut encore? Qu'est-ce qu'il veut? Allez. Putain, mais je peux même pas quitter le menu, rien du tout. Qu'est-ce que je dois faire? Allez, je suis 13, voilà, j'ai 145 points, je suis 13e. Ok, c'est bon? Tu me lâches? Non, toujours pas. Putain, mais je peux pas quitter le menu, c'est incroyable. Mais qu'est-ce que je dois faire? Échange de poids SMP, je m'en fous, je veux pas les échanger, je veux échanger rien du tout. Lâche-moi. Afficher, non, je veux pas. Putain. Ah, c'est bon, d'accord. Oh là là. Alors, j'allais prendre des récompenses. Hop, hop, hop. Les cassettes, ouais. Ah, des tâches et des défis, j'en ai. Oui, d'accord. Hop et hop. Déploiement de combat. Je vais en profiter, hein. Je vais faire un petit peu de... Comment? De gestion de team et tout ça, hein. Il y a plein de bases, hein. Alors, on va faire ça. Voilà. Les dispatch. Ok. Alors, les cassettes. Le Bamba blanc. Moi, je suis sûr que c'est test ADN Daily. On va bien voir. Pour moi, c'est Solidus.
We used the PCR technique and conducted DNA fingerprinting of the copied DNA sequences. Neither is mainstream science yet, but the concepts and procedures are sound. Both tests say there is 0% chance that the two of you are blood relatives.
Ah bah non, raté.
Meaning the results are negative. He's not your son, nor is he your clone.
Ah bah non.
He's just another person.
It was 12 years ago that Zero made plans to clone you. Eli's age and appearance certainly are a good fit. I admit the first time I saw him I did a double take, but it looks like we were worried for nothing. Eli isn't your clone.
Bon.
But you might still have one somewhere out there.
But if Eli isn't the boss's clone, why does he seem so obsessed with him? Not to mention having one hell of an attitude for his age.
I don't know. Learning the truth about himself, cursing the fact he's a clone, bearing a grudge against selfish adults, and coming to hate who he was cloned from. Big boss. If that were really the case, I could understand it. I might even feel a bit sorry for him. But no clone could have a totally different DNA fingerprint. And the test left no room for error. You yourself were there when we drew Eli's blood sample.
Come to think of it, when we went to OKB-0, he'd snuck onto a chopper and was there.
Yeah.
He was acting strange even then. Or actually from a little before that time.
That was exactly when we began these tests.
Maybe he suspected something when we drew the sample, not knowing what we were doing to him, and becoming mistrustful of us.
Hard to say. Eli's had an attitude problem from day one.
So what is he then?
Well, if he's going to tell us that himself, we'll need to get him to open up more first.
Bon bah voilà, bah perdu, bah c'était pas solidus. Pourtant, franchement, ça fait longtemps que j'y pensais. Hein. Ça fait très longtemps que j'y pensais en fait. Mais bon. 42. Oh mais non, mais c'est encore un truc extrême. Oh putain. Oh là là. C'est encore une mission extrême à la con quoi. Non. Bon. Hélicoptère. Voilà.
Roger.
J'ai pris ma douche.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ.
Docker, j'espère que la mission 43 que tu veux me regarder faire, j'espère que c'est pas une mission extrême ou truc comme ça à la con, hein, parce que franchement...
About Eli hijacking Sahelanthropus. We know how he got it moving. It was Emmerich. He used the kids in the staff living quarters to carry out his repairs. We got the details on tape. You're gonna want to hear this.
On va peut-être écouter une cassette alors. Cassette. Interrogatoire de Huey.
Strangelove was doing AI research in that lab.
Why hide that until now?
Okay, so what? I wasn't working alone. You've got to understand. You do understand, right? I didn't want to drag her into this. It's my load to bear, alone.
So you didn't create the AI intended to drive Sahelanthropus. It was Strangelove.
Skullface was never in favor of AI control. So naturally they argued. Strangelove, she got him angry and he killed her.
How? You didn't see it? So you found her inside that pod after the fact. And you just left her body to rot in there. Or perhaps you put her in there afterward.
I asked him not to take her away from me.
So she was killed by Skullface, but you asked nicely, and he put her body in the AI pod for you?
That's right. Pathetic.
You know, we have another idea. That you killed her.
Me? Oh, I couldn't kill her.
You killed her and locked her body in the pod.
I wouldn't. Don't treat me like one of you. I can't just kill anyone whenever I feel like it. I'm a normal human being.
Oh, I see. So you just shut her inside and waited for her to die.
I would never do that.
What, you mean she killed herself?
Yes. She climbed inside that pod and shut the door. It can't be opened from the outside. It was suicide.
Hmm?
Suicide, I said. She killed herself. She got in when I wasn't looking and suffocated. She'd often try to do things like that. By the time I realized and opened the door, she wasn't breathing. I got scared and shut the pod again. I couldn't bring myself to open it back up. That's right. Me? Kill her? What is wrong with you?
I see. Just tell me one more thing.
Haven't you gotten enough today?
Okay, I see it's a painful memory. You don't have to answer, just listen to the question. You see, we examined her remains. She had a scar on her lower abdomen, a surgical scar. It had been stitched up and had fully healed, meaning it was long before her death. She had a child, didn't she? Your child. Where's the kid?
How should I know?
So there is a child.
I've never seen his face.
What do you take us for?
They took it all. Even my child. I didn't even know he'd been born. I lost everything.
How old would he be?
It's 4 years since then.
And you know it's a boy.
Strangelove said so.
And his name?
We called him Hal, even though I never saw his face.
What was your goal in having the children repair Sahelanthropus?
I just answered their questions. I had no idea they would actually try to fix it. I mean, can you imagine a child piloting it?
Oh, sure, easily.
It wouldn't work.
I bet it's just like riding a bike.
I said it didn't work.
Who did you try?
I didn't.
Did you put your son in it?
We never did that.
His name was, Hal, wasn't it? I thought you said you never saw his face. But you made him pilot Sahelanthropus. You used him in your experiments.
He wanted to get in. It was such a short time we had.
So he was with you.
We were happy.
You're still happy now. Changing your lies to suit the listener and getting by slipping through the cracks. Building layer upon layer of convenient stories until nothing means anything to you anymore. You're happy all the time because you don't even notice you're doing it. Think hard. Who are you really? You're not a victim, and you're not the silent majority. You're a perpetrator and a petty hypocrite. The real world doesn't make you suffer. It's the other way around.
Putain, mais il ment tout le temps en fait. Hein. Il ment tout le temps.
This is yellow cake that Cypher was having the PF's transport. Before we met you, the boss recovered it from a truck crossing the savannah. Are there metallic archaea inside it?
Yes, the archaea metabolize uranium-235 to subsist. They must be stored inside yellow cake, or they cannot survive.
So those biological traces we took for impurities were actually the real cargo.
Of course, they are deactivated, so they do not trigger a sudden enrichment. They are like baker's yeast. Yet, they do gradually enrich the uranium as they feed. I imagine you detected weapons-grade traces.
Yeah, we did. And the malachite that was loaded on the truck had traces of uranium in it, too. So that's the flower, huh? Skullface was gonna sell do-it-yourself nuke kits. The uranium-enriching archaea complete with the user's manual. And the ores with the uranium could be sourced by the client or provided by Cypher.
Even the trace amounts buried in common ores can be enriched to weapons-grade uranium by the metallic archaea. Proving that must have been the most important factor of the trials. That and the ability to successfully prevent detonation.
So if the amounts of uranium in the ores are low enough, they can get past any inspection. And you only need a tiny amount of the archaea to act as the yeast. No great challenge to smuggle that either. The first step towards saturating the world with nukes.
His plan. That was not my intention. My only goal in developing the metallic archaea was to save the Dine.
What made you think a tool for creating undetectable nuclear weapons would save your people?
After 70 years, the Dine reclaimed the Navajo nation from which we were banished. We bore all the hardships of poverty, but we were proud to live off the land we called our own. But in the moment the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, everything changed.
I don't get it.
The nuclear arms race between the US and the Soviet Union began with the end of the Second World War. Suddenly, there was a massive demand for uranium. And it was our ill fortune that the ground beneath the Navajo Nation was rich with uranium ore. The Black Ana government set up mine after mine, and many of the Dine worked them, never informed of any danger. Every day, they went to work with no protection. The slag was simply piled out in the open. When rain fell, uranium traces left behind would seep out, and when the ground dried, it was blown about as dust. Land and water were contaminated, irradiated. Many of us became sick and died. That pain lives on to this day.
I had no idea.
Wanting more than anything to revive the land my forebears left to me, I was delighted upon discovering microbes that eat uranium. If they could be domesticated, I believed we could rid our land of uranium.
Were you successful?
No. The research called for funding on a colossal scale. But nobody was willing to invest with no prospect of a return.
And that's when Skullface showed up.
Correct. I can save you and your people. We share the same will. That is what he said to me. And I believed him. Black Ana forced me to abandon my uranium cleanup work and focus on nuclear weapons. And he held all the Dine hostage. Today, the uranium mines within the reservation are finally closing down. It is simply less expensive now to source uranium overseas.
New victims, different places.
But uranium is a tactical resource. To rely on a foreign country for it is a difficult decision to make. And he was in the perfect place to influence that decision.
He could have condemned your people to the mines forever.
The contamination comes not only from uranium. The fallout from the Nevada nuclear tests also settled on our lands. As if our fortune were not already bad enough, we are also downwinders. To save the
Le dîner. Ouais. Bref. Alors, est-ce que j'ai quand même des nouvelles missions? Apparemment non. Non. Mission secondaire peut-être. Non plus. C'est peut-être avec les cassettes, hein. On va continuer. J'ai essayé d'écouter uniquement les cassettes jaunes. Oh là 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 là, d'accord, il y en a plein. Oh, il y en a plein. Oh, ça va être passionnant. Ça va être passionnant.
The one that covers the parasite that lives on the surface of the skull's bodies is what gives them their power. Similar to my children who live in my skin. I modified the parasites I isolated from the body of that old man, differentiating them with various abilities. One that can blend perfectly into its surroundings by exposing the pigments in its cells at will. Another that, by harboring multiple species of metallic archaea, can oxidize and reduce metal. Isolating the one that covers and transplanting it into an artificial medium should provide the same abilities as the skulls, but they can only subsist within a human body. Once transplanted into the medium, they will eventually die. Another thing, the weakness of the one that covers is desiccation. Their surface moisture loss is greater than ours. The reason they give off mist is to alleviate this by releasing the salts inside them as microparticles. Water vapor condenses around them, appearing as mist. But this dries out the atmosphere until they cannot even produce mist. And once their supply of water from the host runs out, the parasites are in danger. They, along with their host, enter a form of suspended animation. However, a similar effect occurs if they come into contact with a large amount of water. Rain, for instance. The one that covers will temporarily abandon other processes in its eagerness to absorb the water. Make the weather your ally.
Ouais, donc pour combattre les skulls, apparemment, la meilleure des tactiques, c'est d'avoir un seau d'eau avec soi. Hein, et de lui balancer le seau d'eau sur la tronche. Ah. Alors, je sais pas si je peux me contenter uniquement du rapport de l'informateur. Mais bon, voilà, on va écouter uniquement les cassettes jaunes, puisque ce sont les cassettes à peu près importantes. Histoire de débloquer la suite de l'histoire. Je sais bien qu'écouter les cassettes c'est pas passionnant, mais ça fait partie du jeu, c'est comme ça, des cassettes il y en a au moins 200, donc voilà. Faut bien y passer un moment ou un autre.
More specifically, northern Transylvania after it reverted to Hungary from Romania. While he was young, the country allied with Germany as part of the Axis powers, but later during the war, they came under Soviet occupation. The Hungarians struggled for independence, but the Soviets came down hard. Just like he said, time and again the country was ruled by a foreign tongue. When he was a young boy, he lost his native language, the bedrock for any developing child. His country, his family, his face, his identity, everything was stolen from him. All he had left was his skull. Skullface first tried his hand at espionage during all the chaos from the war. Agents, military officials, and soldiers who operated out of Hungary during the war vanished over the course of several months. This Soviet spy hunt rocked the counter-intel world. Mysterious fatal illnesses, accidental deaths, drownings, people having strokes behind closed doors. Just like Stalin, no one knew who was behind it. But all you need to do was look for who had the motive. They were all taken out by a man without a face. And now we've got an idea of how he did it too. He'd gotten revenge for his people, but he wasn't finished. Skullface defected to the west, eventually ended up with the SAS. That's where he met Zero. It's possible he began planning this whole thing back then. It's hard to say. In any case, Zero made him his XO. He always did have a thing for oddballs. But this one was set to lead a unit no one else would know about. When Zero created Fox, he also formed XOF as a support team. An unconventional special forces unit designed to support Fox, make it stronger, with Skullface giving the orders. Zero never even told the boss about it, nor the CIA, naturally. If Fox was Zero's silver bullet, XOF was the recoil when he pulled the trigger. Just like Newton's third law. While you were with Fox, Skullface was operating behind the scenes. Sometimes as your backup, sometimes as a mole or a scout, sometimes as your cleanup crew. Fox's tail, making sure the mission succeeded and that you survived.
Et ouais, Docker, ouais, ça fait 1000 ans que je suis sur les cassettes, mais c'est comme ça, apparemment c'est le jeu, hein. Il y a des cassettes, il y a plein de cassettes. Il y a beaucoup trop de cassettes.
Boss, we gave Ralph, that kid who died in the accident, a burial at sea. The man in charge of that facility has been severely punished. But ever since, the kids have been acting strange. It's obvious they've lost their trust in adults. I was getting reports of them ignoring the staff, or getting insolent, and even violent. And a few days later, several of the kids did a disappearing act. They snuck into choppers and shipping containers and got off base. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. These kids were born in a war zone and forced to grow up as war fighters. If they're left alone, war is how they'll die. But I thought we showed them there are other reasons to live. I never liked having children on Mother Base. But the thought of them going back to the battlefield and picking up their old lifestyle is something I can't stomach. It makes me think of Chico, 9 years ago. We have to get those kids back. Hell, they know too much about our operation. I never expected even the kids to betray us. Snake, you remember the White Mamba? Of course, he's been going by Eli since we brought him on base. He was the leader of the child soldier unit we took out of that village and into our protection. Well, according to the kids you brought back here, all the escapees were especially close to Eli. There's reason to suspect he's behind all 6 escapes. We've already detained him. I'll be questioning him shortly.
Wait. You'll be?
Ocelot.
You're incapable of taking an impartial stance with those kids. Question them all you want. It'll get you nowhere.
Ocelot, you get too many kicks from your art of interrogation.
It's not a matter of art. It's about quick, minimal strokes of psychological warfare. That's what gets the answers. And it's the best way to keep both questioner and subject safe. The risks only increase the more an interrogation drags on. At that point, it causes as much pain to the inflictor as the inflicted.
Like I said, too many kicks.
What I'm trying to tell you is we need quick results. Otherwise, it'll be too little, too late.
I know that.
And besides, I know the subject. I won't go overboard with a kid.
Forget it. You're not needed. Snake, we'll want to question the other kids too. Be sure to bring them all back. Snake, about the escaped children. Eli confessed. The way he tells it, they wanted to go back to the battlefield. Don't rob them of their freedom, he said. If you bring them all back, there will be consequences. Next, he'll be asking for our surrender.
Consequences? What consequences?
No idea. That's all I have for now.
You're too attached to those kids. Stop protecting Eli.
Listen to yourself.
Let me question him, and we'll get some real answers.
Not necessary. I'll report as and when.
Boss, we found weapons in the children's section of the living quarters. As you know, weapons are strictly off limits. We've got some rule breakers. The weapons we found were handmade. Blades ground out of knives and forks, a couple of bow guns built out of scrap, and explosives made using detergents. And get this, the explosives were tightly packed with nails. The kids put the blame on, you guessed it, Eli. I guess that's what he meant by consequences.
I questioned him about it, but this time he claimed they want to be put out on missions. Send us to the battlefield, he says.
Miller, enough is enough. You've protected him too much already. It's my turn to question him.
Protected?
What Eli's doing is issuing a threat. Comply with my demands or I'll respond with force. But it'll be war at this rate. Forks and soap aren't going to kill us, but some of them will end up dead. Is that what you want? Now, I hate to say it, but they want to be on the battlefield. It's time you gave up this fantasy.
Eli, he said they'd rise up against us if we bring the last kid back.
There, you see? Ignore his demands. Don't let him return to quarters. That attitude is contagious. We lose control over them for good.
For the time being, we've confiscated those handmade weapons. We're bumping up security and the number of psychiatric counselors. As for Eli,
he needs some very special care.
You mean solitary?
Well, we can't leave him in contact with the other kids. If you won't do it, I will. Boss, keep working on extracting those kids.
On est presque à la fin.
The kids you brought back to base have laid out the situation. They all escaped to each of their home villages, or were trying to get home, and lost their way. Not that homesickness is going to explain everything we've seen.
Each of their home villages? They were trying to raise troops for the rebellion.
You really think these kids have an armed uprising in them?
You read the report of the security team member who had a rock thrown at him. There'll be a riot if we don't do something. And Miller, this is because you didn't act fast enough.
Fine. I'll admit you were right this time.
Seal off the kids' quarters from outside contact before it's too late.
All right.
Eli said his rebellion would start when the last kid is brought back, right? You better be ready to meet him head on if it really happens.
Yeah.
You should have left it to me in the first place.
Boss, they're just kidding. We have a responsibility to see that those kids make it. It's not about feeling protective or the pros and cons. I hate kids. That's exactly what I heard from the people who raised me. People who abandoned me, more like. That's the spark that kept me going, you know? I wanted to show those adults what I was made of. Wanted to get back at them one day. Before I knew it, I was all grown up. Never saw it coming. All of a sudden, people treated me as an adult. Some adult I turned out to be. But I feel like if my life had been different, if the adults I knew had been different, I could have grown up better. Yeah, that's it, all right. I wanted to use those kids to test that theory. That's all this was. From their point of view, I'm no different from the assholes who gave me a hard time. When this is all blown over, I'll talk it out with them. If that's still possible. Boss, there are still kids out there. Bring them back safe.
Boss, it's me. Eli's revealed what he wants. He wants to speak with you. With Big Boss. He just said, bring my father here. Eli's too smart for his own good. No way to tell what he's thinking. All we know for sure is his men are important to him. That means we can use the escaped kids as leverage in any negotiation. Once you've brought the last one back, I'll interrogate him. If the kids do rise up, we'll meet them full force. End of story. I didn't want things to turn out like this. We could have prevented it, but it's too late now. If Eli means to take this all the way, he's going to force us to do the same. Boss, go get that last kid.
Bah, il reste plus que le rapport de l'informateur et j'espère que ça va débloquer la suite. J'espère qu'on n'est pas en train de faire tout ça pour rien.
We finished decoding the informant's report. That floating kid we've run into a few times now. Looks like he was a test subject in clinical experiments. The Soviets called him the Third Boy. The Third Boy was brought to a lab on the outskirts of Moscow from Czechoslovakia, after which he was due to be sent to a research center in Leningrad, then Siberia, and finally an academic town in Novosibirsk. It doesn't appear that the researchers witnessed the talents we've seen from him, but nevertheless he was quite the popular subject. His latent cognitive abilities suddenly awoke en route to Moscow. According to the report, the Third Boy was easily influenced by other individuals' biofields. Evil thoughts, in particular. They affected his mind like a virus. Extreme anger or resentment, motives for revenge, in other words. Now, during the transport flight to Moscow, the boy was exposed to a powerful mental energy field coming from a certain individual. Ever since, being conscious of his powers, he's become a sort of energy generator. What's unique about him is the way his acute telepathic abilities get taken over by another person's will. The boy began to physically parasitize individuals experiencing extreme anger and codify the host's desires. This includes amplifying the host's natural strengths. Or, in accordance with the host's desires, he can also implant program code in another individual, making them a puppet, essentially. Human neural synapses transmit weak electrical currents between neurons. These electrical currents, though at a level difficult to observe, warp the magnetic field outside the body. The Third Boy is able to pick up these weak fluctuations. Contrary to psychotronics, which involves controlling the human mind, his abilities as a receptor are too high. The emotions he picks up from another individual are amplified and unleashed into his body as they recur in his brain. They turn into microwaves, which then affect the physical world, triggering paranormal phenomena like the spontaneous combustion of organic matter or psychokinesis, moving an object without touching it. There's one other thing. While he's parasitizing a host, the boy's ego gets shut away, allowing the will of the host to take control of his powers, like some annoying static drowning out your own voice. That means he isn't responsible for what's been happening. Somebody's extreme anger has manifested through the Third Boy's powers in ways none of us could have predicted, which would mean this was going on somewhere around us. Looking back on it,
Ben bonne nuit, Docker.
makes sense now.
Attends, je vais faire...
Finished decoding.
Comment est-ce qu'on fait pause?
Looking
Non,
back
c'est
on
pas...
it,
C'est pas...
lot-
C'est pas 21 cassettes, j'écoute uniquement les cassettes jaunes, donc il reste... Où est-ce que je suis là? Il reste les deux dernières, ces deux-là. Je me souviens pas qu'il y en avait autant, ouais, il y en a beaucoup. Hein. En fait, j'espère qu'en écoutant toutes les cassettes jaunes, ça va me débloquer la suite de l'histoire. Il m'en reste encore deux. Mais bon, si tu dois aller dormir, va dormir, hein. Bonne nuit, merci d'être passé.
Looking back on it, a lot of things make sense now. The man on fire, Sahelanthropus, they both came to life thanks to the Third Boy's powers. Everything has been happening through him as a catalyst. We first saw him in the hospital on Cyprus. The boy parasitizing the man on fire's desire for revenge gave him his new abilities in return. He next appeared at the Hamid Fighters Fort where the honeybee was hidden. There, the boy parasitized Skullface's vengeful mind. He controlled Sahelanthropus, making it do whatever Skullface wanted. Same goes for when we extracted Emmerich onto the chopper. When he appeared at the Devil's House in Central Africa, Skullface's will controlled the man on fire via the Third Boy's powers. Everything is clear up to this point. But even the informant couldn't pinpoint who the host was in the cave within Serac power plant. Sahelanthropus suddenly became active, then crushed not only the man on fire, but Skullface as well. Surely neither of them could have been the host. Who else was at that location and bore anger more extreme than either of them? Whose will was controlling Sahelanthropus? According to the report, emotions transmitted in children's brains affect the surrounding magnetic field more strongly. Cerebral nerves are covered with insulation called myelin sheaths to increase impulse speed. The reason for this leakage has to do with the fact that children's myelin sheaths are still developing. So, how many children do you remember being there? Children with a burning desire for revenge and bearing a grudge against you. I can think of only one. Eli. We don't know what kind of life he's had, but the resentment he's shown toward adults is nothing short of extraordinary. The third boy resonated with Eli's mind. And that means Eli bore the strongest animosity of all individuals within the boy's reception range, estimated to be a 3-mile radius, beating out even Volgan and Skullface. The third boy has probably remained hooked on Eli's anger since. You remember at the Devil's House, the third boy showed an interest in Shivani? That must have been his ego making a rare appearance. He may possess abilities far beyond anyone else in the world, but he's still a kid. Maybe them both being kids was enough to bring them together. And if so, maybe with Eli, he isn't feeding off him, but acting in symbiosis with him.
Ouais, c'est un peu compliqué quand même.
Third boy's powers. If we look at the location and time that his plane went down, we can make a pretty good guess. When the plane experienced the first anomaly, it gave an accurate report of its position to a control tower, due north of the Black Sea, 125 miles east of Kiev. Dead south on the Black Sea is Cyprus's Green Line. So the plane's position was directly north of the hospital where you'd been asleep for 9 years. And this anomaly was reported at exactly the same time that you woke up. The plane was enveloped in flame from the inside out. The fuselage burnt to ashes. There were no survivors, at least not publicly admitted. Your thoughts formed a synchronicity with the boy's psyche and were amplified inside his brain. That would have been more than enough to trigger his abilities. Your rage was like a big bang in his head, blowing the lid off his powers. The boy was then secretly moved to the lab outside of Moscow where Volgan was comatose. There, Volgan's thoughts resonated with the boy and he was awakened. Volgan became the man on fire, hell-bent on getting revenge on you. His instincts led him straight to you. Skullface knew Volgan from Operation Snake Eater, or perhaps from even before. Monitoring this pair of extraordinaries, he discovered the hospital and sent his assassin and XOF. Skullface was probably watching the situation from close by. Then, realizing how useful these two test subjects could be, he approached them. Reacting to Skullface's thirst for revenge, this time the boy let Skullface's will control Volgan. Volgan, at times driven by personal revenge, at times through Skullface's will, kept on moving, though his body was little more than dead meat. Perhaps there were moments where even your thoughts affected him as well. But without the boy's power, it was like the plug had been pulled from the socket. Everything was powered by anger, malice, revenge. This is how the end of the report sums things up. Both the third boy and the man on fire were originally test subjects of paranormal research for military applications, like telekinetically controlling the leader of an enemy nation and making him launch a nuke, or stopping the heart of someone on the wrong side of the Berlin Wall, experimenting with latent human abilities. They were used as tools of the Cold War. The boy's only crime was being born with unique gifts. But he was sacrificed on the altar of war. His life reduced to slavery under other people's wills. Turned into a living weapon with no will of his own. And eventually the only emotion he could feel must have been the desire to get revenge for the hand he'd been dealt. Boss, it's you that awakened the boy's powers. But there's more to it than that. I guess the anger emanating from you was something he could truly relate to.
Ouais, c'est quand même un petit peu compliqué tout ça. Bon, bref, voilà, j'ai écouté toutes les cassettes jaunes, toutes les cassettes importantes. Liste des tâches et des défis. Ah, j'en suis à 60% des cassettes, ok. Liste des missions, bah j'ai toujours pas la mission 43. Alors, bref, ça n'a servi à rien. Ça n'a servi à rien du tout. Ouais. Peut-être juste faire une petite mission secondaire, genre celle-là. Allez, voilà. On va vite faire une petite mission secondaire, histoire de... J'aimerais quand même bien que la suite de l'aventure se débloque. Mais apparemment le jeu ne veut pas, encore une fois. Voilà. Ah non, je me suis trompé, oh c'est pas grave. Ah, pour une fois que je choisis pas dès que possible. Donc la dernière fois il fallait aller retrouver tous les gamins pour que ça débloque la suite de l'aventure, et cette fois-ci eh ben je sais pas du tout. Voilà. Je ne sais pas du tout. J'ai écouté toutes les cassettes importantes, toutes les missions secondaires importantes sont faites, et ça ne débloque pas la suite. Ah bah... Bah il vient de me dire qu'il a mis à jour la liste des missions. J'espère que c'est ça, hein. J'espère que c'est ça. Liste d'émissions. Ouais, bah c'est... Je peux pas les regarder. Non, non, j'ai toujours pas la mission 43. Je suis désolé, Docker, j'ai pas la mission. Tu voulais regarder la 43, je ne l'ai pas. Je ne l'ai toujours pas. Je crois que la 43 ce ne sera pas pour aujourd'hui, malheureusement. Puisque le jeu ne veut pas me laisser continuer. Donc là, c'était quoi que j'ai choisi? Chier à la fourrière, non, c'est pas ça. Ah ouais, c'est ça, voilà. Les bladés. D'accord. On va vite s'occuper de ça. Peut-être que faire une mission secondaire, ça va me débloquer la suite de l'aventure, j'espère. Hein. Mais bon, c'est vrai qu'il est déjà à 22h13. On n'a rien fait aujourd'hui. Parce que le jeu ne veut pas me laisser continuer. Malheureusement. Oula. Putain, mais je le touche pas, hein. Si, quand même. Ah, mais il y a encore quelqu'un là. Putain, mais ils sont combien là? Franchement. tout. En fait, il y avait qu'un tank. C'est ça. Et plein de personnes.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's running too. Roger that.
Mais non!
You gotta extract him.
Voilà. C'est bon là? Ok, c'est bon.
He's coming too. Roger that.
J'ai toujours pas de nouvelles missions. Hein. Je sais pas. Franchement, je sais pas. Franchement, je sais pas du tout. Je sais pas quoi faire pour débloquer la suite. Plateforme de combat, voilà. Ok. Plateforme de soutien, ouais, pourquoi pas. Voilà. Unit dispatch. Voilà. On dirait bien qu'on en a fini avec les cassettes. Flaming Buffalo. C'est quoi ça, Flaming Buffalo? Bah oui, mais toi, j'ai fini les cassettes, ça m'a pas débloqué la suite de l'histoire. Hein. J'ai toujours bloqué à la mission 42. Hein. J'ai toujours pas la mission que tu voulais. La fameuse mission 43. Voilà. Et dans les missions secondaires, je n'ai aucune nouvelle mission importante. Et dans les cassettes, bah, je n'ai plus aucune cassette importante. Bref, voilà. Comment est-ce que je fais pour débloquer la suite? Je sais pas. C'est sympa, hein, voilà, c'est sympa. Vraiment. Attends, je l'aime bien le jeu, hein, mais là, il y a vraiment des problèmes de rythme incroyables, quoi. Comment je fais pour débloquer la suite? Je sais pas. Alors du coup, bah, je me fais chier à faire des missions secondaires, voilà, c'est tellement... C'est passionnant. Extrayer... Oh mais non, je suis en capturé, quoi. Le chacal légendaire. Et je suis où? Moi, je suis là. Ouais. T'as un truc en doré dans les déploiements de combat. Les déploiements de combat, c'est quoi? Déploiements de combat, ouais. Bah oui, mais c'est des missions à la con, ça. Autrement, il me semble que tu dois faire quelques missions secondaires. Bah oui, c'est ce que je fais, oui. Voilà. C'est ce que je fais des petites missions secondaires en attendant, voilà. En attendant. Donc je suis où? Je suis là, je pourrais faire... C'est quoi cette mission là? Capturer le chacal légendaire, ouais. Bon allez, pourquoi pas. Pourquoi pas. Oh, 2 km quand même, à pied, hein. Putain, c'est vrai que c'est chiant, j'avais oublié. Bah ouais. Bah ouais. Le rythme du jeu, la narration, c'est à chier quoi. L'histoire est peut-être intéressante, je sais pas, c'est tellement comme ça découpé que bah voilà. Voilà. Pour moi, c'est le plus gros problème du jeu. Mais grappe quand même. Mais putain, mais il veut pas grapper ça. Pour moi, c'est le plus gros problème du jeu, quoi. Franchement, voilà. Les autres MGS, ils étaient pas comme ça, hein. Ils étaient vraiment pas comme ça. Hein. T'étais pris par l'histoire et t'allais jusqu'à la fin du jeu en te tapant, ouais, il y avait des cinématiques, il y avait des phases en codec, il y avait des... Bien sûr, mais le rythme n'était pas cassé comme ça. Ici, le rythme, il est tout le temps cassé, tout le temps, tout le temps. Du coup, le jeu, bah... Ouais, tu joues pour le gameplay, d'accord, parce que le gameplay est très bien, mais l'histoire, non, non. Non, enfin, pas pour moi en tout cas. Hein. Pas pour moi en tout cas. Hein. Déjà que le rythme est assez lent, pourquoi il t'oblige à faire des secondaires? Bah ouais, je sais pas. Je sais pas. J'ai encore 1,5 km, j'aurais dû prendre mon cheval ou une jeep ou quelque chose comme ça. Oh là là. Ouais, j'aurais vraiment dû prendre mon cheval ou prendre une jeep. Tant pis. Maintenant, le temps que je demande le cheval ou la jeep, je serais déjà arrivé. Ah. Perso, je trouve quand même l'histoire vachement bien. Bah, l'histoire est peut-être très bien, mais c'est tellement décousu, tellement... le rythme est tout le temps cassé que finalement... bah, voilà, quoi. Si tu joues pas régulièrement, bah, t'as vite fait de te perdre... Par exemple, le monologue de Skull, très intéressant. Ouais, mais c'était... Le monologue de Skull, c'était il y a déjà longtemps. C'était il y a déjà plusieurs heures de jeu, quoi. Et depuis, bah, bon, c'est pas passé grand chose, hein. Ramasse. Allez, encore 500 mètres. J'espère que ce sera bon. Après, que je puisse au moins faire ta mission 43, à part si tu veux aller dormir. Dans ce cas-là, bah, je la ferai vendredi. Alors. Il n'y aura pas de stream demain. Je la ferai vendredi. Bon, c'est bon là. Ouais, je suis dans la zone. On va peut-être prendre le chien il va me la détecter, il va me détecter l'animal tout de suite. Mais non, pas la boîte en carton, ça. Ouais, j'ai appelé le chien. Coéquipier D-Dog. Ah, j'ai pas besoin du chien finalement. J'ai pas besoin du chien. Ok. Je l'ai eu. Ah merde. Bon, j'ai plus de silencieux, mais c'est pas grave. Voilà. Ok, bon, ça c'est bon. Ah là il y a des conteneurs là. Alors, est-ce que ça m'a débloqué la suite? Non, ça m'a toujours pas débloqué la suite. Déploiement de combat, est-ce que j'ai l'unité disponible? Ouais. On va là, faire ça alors. Hein. Oh, il faut 54 minutes. Ah oui, d'accord, oui. 54 minutes pour ça, ouais. Bah, si c'est ça qui débloque la suite de l'histoire, on n'est pas près de la faire. Hein. Ouais, lui, il pourrait être intéressant. Hein. Ah, bah, il y a encore du monde là. Il pourrait être intéressant aussi, lui. Bon, on va vite se faire ça. Ce camp là, récupérer les conteneurs. Non, je suis quasi sûr que c'est les secondaires qui la débloquent. Bah ouais. J'espère. Ah oui, mais j'ai... Oh, putain. Je n'ai plus de silencieux, c'est vrai. Est-ce que j'en ai pas, moi, de silencieux, quand même? Voilà. Mais non, pas la boîte. Ouais, bah, peu importe. Ah, des plans. Oui, oui, des plans. Oui, ça je veux bien. Voilà. Bon bah va dormir, Docker. Je ferai pas la mission 43 aujourd'hui. Hein. Je vais essayer d'avancer pour la débloquer et je la ferai vendredi. Voilà. Comme ça, hein, puisque c'est la mission que tu voulais voir et que tu veux aller dormir, je vais pas te retenir ici à dormir. Hein. Voilà les plans. On va voir. C'est pas des ressources ici. Un peu de carburant. Une plante. Voilà. Ici il n'y avait plus rien. Non, bah c'est bon, bah voilà, bah campement nettoyé. Bon. Allez, mission secondaire, toujours en Afrique, hein, puisque j'y suis. Où est-ce que je suis là? Je suis là. Voilà. Chien à la fourrière. D'accord. Bah oui, bah, je vais faire ça, voilà. Ça va être des missions secondaires jusqu'à débloquer, débloquer la suite. Ok, il n'y a pas de véhicule dans le coin. Voilà. C'est bien, bien. Oh, c'est bien, c'est bien, c'est bien. Oh, quel gentil chien. Oh, ouais, bon chien. Bon chien, bon chien, bon chien. Voilà, m'a dit. Bon. Ah oui, il y a des rochers. Oula. Ah ouais, mais là ça passera pas par contre. Hein. Putain, mais la conduite des véhicules dans ce jeu, c'est incroyable. Ah mais non, je suis bloqué là. Putain, mais par où est-ce que je vais là? Bah par là. Fort. Salut les gars, désolé, je me fais passer. Ah ouais, il faut que je passe par là en fait. Pour faire le tour par ici. Non, bah on va se faire le camp là. Hein. On va se faire le camp. Ah ouais. Pas grave. Ah d'accord, ils savent parfaitement où je suis. Hein. Ça, y a aucun problème. Hein. Ils savent parfaitement où je suis. Hein. Oula. Yeah. Putain mais voilà. Oh putain. Allez quoi.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Ah oui, il y a encore plein de monde là au bout. Oh là là. Mais non. C'est pas ce que je voulais. Mais ils savent parfaitement où je suis, il n'y a aucun problème. J'ai endormi tout le monde, mais non, ils savent parfaitement où je suis. Hein. Ouais, il y a plein de conteneurs ici. Hein. Je vais me faire repérer, mais bon. Voilà, bon, je suis passé, c'est le plus important. Ah, c'était quoi la mission là? Attends. Ah oui, extraire un soldat errant, d'accord, d'accord. D'accord, d'accord. Mal repéré. Ennemi repéré. Où ça? Ah oui, par là, d'accord. Ça y est, il me l'a repéré. La dernière fois j'avais Quiet et je lui ai demandé de lui tirer dessus. Donc ça s'était fini en 2 secondes. Comment est-ce que je l'ai raté là? Voilà. Comment est-ce que j'ai fait pour le rater sérieusement? Je crois que j'avais sa tête dans ma ligne de mire. Ouais. Ouais, voilà. Ah, le chien qui ne me le repère plus. Putain, mais il veut pas me le repérer, hein. C'est pas grave, on va chercher après alors. Ah, ça y est. Où ça? Ah mais non, c'est là au bout. Ah voilà. Oh putain, il a une tenue invisible. Ok. N'en bouge pas, mec. Putain. Ouais. C'est cool. Ouais. Bah non. Bon chien. Qu'est-ce qu'il est mon petit chien? Hein? Ok. Ah. Bon, je sais pas ce qu'il a, hein, mais bon. Putain, mais pourquoi est-ce qu'il bouge autant là? Voilà. C'est parfait. Allez, mission finie.
You gonna extract him? Boss, we have an emergency.
Ah.
There's been another outbreak of the vocal cord parasites on the base. Several men are dead. It started in the laboratory on the quarantine platform where the radiation leak occurred. I'd only just deployed the security team. I've sent in a rescue team to help, but they haven't returned. Boss, I need you on this. Come back to Mother Base ASAP.
Ok. Bon, apparemment, voilà, ça débloque enfin la suite de l'histoire, mais je sais pas si Docker est toujours là. puisqu'il voulait absolument me voir jouer cette mission-là. Puisqu'il y a une demi-heure, je lui ai dit d'aller dormir. Donc je crois qu'on va plutôt... Qu'est-ce que je fais? Je crois qu'on va plutôt rester là alors. Hein. Ouais. Puisque apparemment il voulait absolument l'avoir. Je crois qu'on va en rester là pour aujourd'hui. Et donc ce sera la mission 43, bah, la prochaine mission qu'on fera vendredi. Donc après 20h, 20h30. On commencera directement par cette mission là. Bref, merci beaucoup d'avoir regardé. Et on se dit donc à vendredi. Désolé de couper aussi brutalement, mais voilà. J'ai pas vraiment le choix. À vendredi donc.